Team in blue, Oceania, coached by Tim Fanning of the Nelson Giants in New Zealand. Formerly worked with the Delaware 87ers, but in the D-League, but now he had his chance to work in the Summer League, potentially recruit a few guys out to New Zealand to play on his squad. We look here, 4:42 remaining in this first quarter. Early on, Nick, what has really stood out to you? I mean, I think at least that play right there, you certainly aren't going to forget that. But that aside, what have you seen in the early going to this one?
Well, I think the most interesting thing is 60 seconds after a timeout, Gil Kislev calls another timeout in order to get his guys ready. We saw a couple turnovers and fast break opportunities, just 2 of them, and one has yet to lead to a basket. Already he calls time, so that may be an early indication that this team needs to figure out a way to keep these teams keep this club off the scoreboard. Oceania can score 10, 15 points in a hurry.
Yeah, we saw that on that block. But again, this is the kind of tournament where, as much as you want team play and all that, at the same time you see an easy bucket from Langston Morris Walker. At the same time, it's about the guys at an individual level.
And a turnover.
Yeah, they're the ones off that turnover right there. They're the ones that are getting recruited. You know, they're the ones that are trying to sign. Coaches are there to recruit, in some sense, and also facilitate that and help these guys sign the next deals.
All right, Gil Kislev may want to call another timeout. His team does not look like the club who exploded to a 13-5 lead.
Cross-court pass from Rogers goes to Anderson, and book it, he buries the long two.
A 6-0 run, and what's concerning about Scouting4u, it took them no more than 60 seconds, and Oceania is back in the game.
So Barney drives to the hole, and he gets fouled right there.
Why, Bernie's incredibly aggressive in the early stages. We already see him getting a couple steals, former Martin Methodist product, and his numbers are very solid. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. 2.5 steals as well. David Burney did it all. He may be slightly undersized at 6'2", but this man can play.
So taking to the hole is Woolfolk. Wild shot, no good. And Xavier Rogers going to push out with it. Up court to Tab, and Tab, the fancy layup, going off glass.
When Ladarius Tab has some momentum, when he's got those burners going, no one's going to catch him. As we saw, Tab uncontested to the basket.
So after the early lead, Scouting4u is all tied up at 13, and then Burney airballs the 3. So Marcel Anderson driving in, kicks out. 3-ball up for Xavier Rogers, and that's off front iron. And we'll see what they call. I believe it's going to be an over-the-back call on Stephen Thompson, and also a new addition to Scouting4u. And actually, no, they're not going to call that. They're going to call that off of Frank Rogers of Team Oceania. But Stephen Thompson, as I mentioned, wearing number 6. He's checked onto the floor for the first time here for Gil Kislev's squad.
As we noticed yesterday, it's very tough to judge a game by the first quarter. Guys are still trying to get accustomed to these new players. We even have more additions to the roster going into today. So this is obviously a lead for Scouting4u. They would love to maintain as Oceania has crawled back into it.
So Palmore has it on the 3-point arc. He'll bounce it inside. Thompson working baseline, going up and under, and he gets bumped on the way up. So he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
The one problem for Scouting4u in their, other than that, very dominant performance yesterday was that they were just 10 for 27 from the free throw line. So in opportunities to tack on points, they were 37%. That is a concerning factor of Gil Kislev's club so far. Other than that, they've been sensational.
So first foul shot goes down for Thompson, and after a hot start as he misses on the second, this Scouting4u squad has gone cold for the past few minutes, but now they're up 14-13 here with 3 minutes left in this first quarter. So Anderson drives right by Palmore, and the floater goes in. Marcel Anderson using the body and the soft touch. Bowling thought about a 3, now gives back to Palmore offensively. Palmore drives, lobs inside for Ellison. Using his body, goes up again, and they're going to call going up too many times there. That was a jump.
Well, Sam, the one thing I've noticed in this Oceania run is they are not afraid to attack on every possession, offensively attacking, of course, in transition, but defensively. You notice the hands. You notice guys diving on the floor. That's the type of basketball that we came here to see.
So Ellison and Frank Rogers are going to be the men jumping for the ball here. Both listed at 6'9". Frank Rogers, the San Jose State product, is going to win that one. So Antoine Hosley orchestrating the offense here. Hosley 6'2", 200, more of a burly guard, but he's shown the abilities, a little crafty player off the dribble, and his passing ability is unmatched. So we'll see that right there. He kicks out, a few feet inside the arc. His tab, should I say, as he misses. So rebound goes to Reese. Reese pushing up floor. Reese finds Thompson down low. Thompson will peel back out as Palmore is going to set this offense up again. Repost for Thompson. Thompson fades away and connects. So there you go. Steven Thompson on the board again. He's got 3 points.
He was a late addition for this team, but he's nearing the leading scorer for this club in the paint right now. What a performance so far in the first quarter for him.
So 16-15 in favor of Scouting for you, as Xavier Rogers used his body to get to the bucket, and they're going to call that on the floor or up in the air. We'll see. And they're saying 2, so that's 2 shots going Xavier Rogers' way. Rogers 5 points last game against Swiss Select, 1 for 5 from the field, so you'd like to see a little more out of him today. 6'2", 185, recently played for the Cleveland Havoc of the UBA.
Oh, he's got all the potential in order to do that. And with Ladarius Tabb maybe struggling a touch in this basketball game, that is an opportunity for him to take maybe 7 or 8 shot attempts tonight, maybe even more, in order to get himself into a rhythm. He's a man where if he gets his shots, if he gets enough opportunities, he will be able to convert.
So the mammoth of a man, Keyshawn Hamilton, checking onto the floor for the first time, as you see number 10 for blue. Second one goes down for Xavier Rogers. Hamilton right here. You know, it's mostly black shorts here today, but he's got the yellow stripes on the side of his shorts, making him easily identifiable. So Thompson has it back to again, backing down Morris Walker, and that's going to be a foul as official Brett Hogan all over that one.
Now for those folks, just to reciprocate one more time, that are watching this game on Global Basketball TV, you notice by the time that Ellison makes his move in the paint, all 5 blue jerseys are there to meet him. All 5 of them. It's amazing the sort of the toughness that this team has continuing to fight for the ball.
Palmore to Bowling from downtown. Bowling cannot connect. Let's see, dialed up a 3 there. So Morris Walker is going to start things here. He gives out for Xavier Rogers. Tries to shake and bake Bernie. Back to Morris Walker. Morris Walker, no good as the 3 rattles out. Palmore collects the rebound. Palmore going to set up going on Hosley. Stops his dribble, lobs inside. Thompson has it, has to stop his dribble on the baseline, and the ball gets tapped out of play off Oceania. So side out in favor of Scouting for you.
Oceania is missing some wide open looks from beyond the arc. If you're Scouting for you, obviously the 8-point lead becoming tied is concerning, but even more so is only a matter of time before Oceania knocks down these 3s, and that could be an even bigger hole for them.
So 1 minute left in this first quarter, and Keenan Palmore connects on another shot. He's got 5 points on the day.
He played at Lenoir-Rhyne, which is a Division II school, but is a man who is probably one of the best D2 players in the country. Out of Winston-Salem, this man is a scoring threat at any moment. 22 points and 9 rebounds a game during his time at Lenoir-Rhyne.
So Ellison picks up the errant pass, and Scouting for you is out and running, but they have to stop themselves as Thompson will dish to Ellison. Ellison to Bowling. Bowling open from downtown, and he hits it. Jordan Bowling from the wing.
Another one of those small school products, this time out of Dalton State, 14 points and 8 rebounds. Not half bad for this man. He was somewhat quiet in the second half last night, but he should make a bigger impact today.
So 13 seconds left. Shot clock unplugged here as it's Marcel Anderson. The ones going on each other, him and Bernie. Anderson drives. He has room. Lofts up a floater and foul. So that's going to be on Bernie, and Anderson will have 2 shots here with 6 seconds left in this first quarter.
Sure, the game plan for Scouting for you here is to push the ball, maybe opportunity here to try and throw an inbound across half court. You've only got 6 seconds, but the players that they have on the floor right now give them a good opportunity to score late. Interesting, they throw Andre Smith on the floor. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but if they want to go right inside, then he's the man to do it.
So both foul shots do not fall for Anderson. 5 seconds left, and going up and getting fouled. Langston Morris Walker, the second effort. He goes to the line for one more.
They could have used Andre Smith on that last possession, not being able to box out, and that's a huge, huge opportunity for Oceania to get some very much needed points going into the end of this first quarter.
So right on cue, Smith will check into the game for the last 3 seconds of the first, and Keenan Palmore gets a breather. So it's 21-18 Scouting for you with these 3 seconds left.
We're literally broadcasting right in front of this man. He knows exactly what we're feeling, but I'm sure they're feeling the exact same way.
All in good fun here as the long pass from Bowling gets intercepted. Langston Morris Walker gets rejected by the top of, I guess you would say the side. I would say the screen here that separates the two sides of the court at the Doolittle Community Center, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. 21-19, Scouting for you ends it on top.
I wouldn't be concerned about that shot. I got a feeling that that one probably wasn't going in the basket.
Yeah, a little off target, you may say. So.
Right.
So
but I'm sure Scouting for you is pretty encouraged, because after that early run by Oceania, in which they cut away an 8-point deficit in a matter of seconds, they were able to respond, and that's usually the difference between teams who win and who lose. How do you end quarters and end halves? And they did a beautiful job. Their defense was solid, not allowing any basket other than that last one at the end for about 3 minutes at the end of the first quarter. That's what you need in order to win basketball games.
So right now, George Tolliver, the head of NBA D-League officials, is on the floor talking to the refs here. And again, you have a mix of guys. Some of them are training to be D-League referees. Some of them are FIBA referees. And, you know, they rotate them every game. So they're going to be here all week for both sessions of the Global Basketball Summer League in Las Vegas.
Sam, we've had a tremendously officiated game. These guys are doing a great job. I mean, with all of the influx of players, and really on the spot, these guys are thrust into the role of trying to put these players in the best position to win. They've done a great job, and I think hats off to them, because not only are the players vying their way to professional gigs, but so are these officials, and the pressure's on, but they've done a good job.
So starting up the second quarter, Keenan Palmore will run point. Using the Ellison screen, tries to find him on the pick and roll. Instead goes to Woolfolk, and they're going to call steps on him. So Jared Woolfolk, currently a free agent, most recently played at West Alabama in 2013-14, one of those guys trying to get back into the swing of things, basketball related. 6'2", 200.
Well, he's got the ability to do it. At West Alabama, he had 12 points per game. He shot 83% from the free throw line, and he connected on 5 3-pointers. He was a dominant force for Scouting for you in their win over Point Streak yesterday.
So Marcel Anderson off the penetration scoops it up and in. So tie game, 21-21. So ball on the outside with Woolfolk. Tries to set the offense. Bernie takes a few steps in. Cocks back, shoots up a 2, but that's an air ball. Ellison tried to save it, but to no avail. So Oceania, you know, they were down early in this one, 13-5, but they're now tied at 21-21. Pretty evenly matched game. Both these teams won yesterday. Oceania did so 87-78 over Swiss Select, whereas Scouting for you, we talked about their comeback, 80-68 over Point Streak. So taking his Keyshawn Hamilton, working his way, and he gets stripped but fouled before the steal can be called.
Well, the winner of this game will advance to the championship round tomorrow. And these two teams are very much deserving because of the changes that both clubs have had to make on their rosters. But they haven't blinked. Both teams have had to overcome deficits and other obstacles, but they've done a great job, and that's why this game may be the best one of the day. Tied at 21 so far, and this one could come down to the wire.
So Hamilton, size advantage on Bowling. He hooks it up, and no good. Foul underneath. Brett Hogan again, barking out the call. It's a foul on the floor. He says white 2, so that's Jared Woolfolk. Picks up another foul. We haven't seen many guys foul out, but Keyshawn Hamilton for Oceania, number 10, did so yesterday in limited minutes. Put up 12 points, 5 boards, but he did foul out. And that's not a good sign if you're trying to get scouted. You don't want to see guys that aren't in control in terms of their fouls. But a long shot from Hamilton. and he shows he has a little bit of touch.
Well, maybe he didn't play much yesterday, but he's showing no rust. He's made a huge impact coming off the bench.
So he gets his first points of the day. Bernie takes it, no good. Hamilton rips it with one hand, thinks about the overhead pass. Ball handed off to Hosley instead. So Hosley up the floor in the bright red shoes. Lefty three, front rim no good. Ellison controls it. So Woolfolk again stops his dribble as Tab is all over him. Bowling shoots up a three, no good, off the front of the rim. And Tab tried to get that rebound, and it goes off Ellison.
Yeah, Oliver Ellison has really struggled in the second quarter, and that's probably why Andre Smith is checking over to the scorer's table. Ellison, after having a sensational performance, 10 points, 17 rebounds, with 7 of them offensive in their win over Point Street. Not the same performance today, but Andre Smith has been able to pick up the slack.
Well, Ellison, one of those guys, he's a real big time in terms of his body. 6'9", 215, very lengthy player, good wingspan.
You know what he reminds me of?
Who does he remind you of, Nick?
DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh, I don't know about that comparison as Frank Rogers hooks it in with the left. I think that's a stretch, but hey, you know, to each their own, man.
DeMarcus Cousins has an innate ability around the basket to score, block, defend. But the problem is Cousins doesn't really have any range. Cousins is one of the worst free throw shooters and don't even try from three-point land, similar to Oliver Ellison, where he is dominant inside 10 feet, but obviously his range is a bit of a problem.
Well, you talked about blocking shots. We saw that from Keyshawn Hamilton there as he came up with the rejection on Smith.
Hey, but
now it's Smith working on Rogers, and he gets that one tapped away. Bowling tried to come up with it. Loose ball picked up by Smith as he corrals that. 3 on the way for Reese, and air ball. Ladarius Tab had 13 rebounds yesterday. He picks up 1 there. Again, lofting up a floater is Marcel Anderson.
Marcel Anderson got the roll there. He's had quite a tournament so far. He's really been feeling it, and this team has needed him.
So it's 27-21. 3 minutes and change into this second quarter.
The only problem with Scouting4u, with all of this size and athleticism, they haven't scored in 5 minutes. The score has been stuck on 21 for them. That's why Oceania has gone on an 8-0 run. It's been their inability to score right now.
So we'll see if they can change that as Woolfolk curls his way in. Smith will come up with it, but he cannot connect from close range.
We saw in that first quarter against Point Street, when Scouting4u struggles, it's their problem scoring. When they play great defense, this team can be deadly. But when they struggle like they have right now, scoring becomes a problem.
And that's Antoine Hosley out of control there and results in a turnover.
Do you want to hear my NBA comparison of Andre Smith?
Let's hear it, Nick.
Andre Drummond.
You know, I like that. I actually do like that one a lot in terms of the body of their game and stuff.
I don't think anyone compares to those dreads, but everything else, I think Smith is pretty close.
Free ball from Woolfolk, and he hits it. Jared Woolfolk, free agent, and he hits that 3.
Yeah, he had 5 threes yesterday. That'll be his second today.
Moore looking to push a little bit here. Shots ahead behind the back to Woolfolk. Takes a few feet in, no good. Hamilton gets the rebound. He's out and running, gives it to Marcel Anderson up the floor. Cannot finish on the acrobatic attempts.
You know, it's very weird how some of these players like J.J. Redick and Steph Curry play, but Jared Woolfolk kind of reminds me of those guys because they almost shoot better from 3 than from mid-range 2. We saw Woolfolk there, airball a 2, but my money is from guys that shoot 3 in this tournament, he's probably the best one here. And that's saying something because we have quite a few great shooters. We just saw one earlier today. And throughout the entire tournament, we have seen quite a few great performances. And I would say the best of them all is Jared Woolfolk. 5 threes yesterday, and he's gotten on the board early and often here today.
Yeah, and we talked about that. He played all 40 minutes yesterday as another timeout is used. Fanning on Oceania's side. But we talked about Woolfolk. He played all 40 minutes of this game. And these games are very similar to the NBA Summer League play kind of condensed quarters, to speed things up when you have a lot of people to get on the floor in and out. It also keeps the floor fresher. But
fresher, and also guys from getting hurt. We saw a couple of injuries yesterday. We probably could have seen more, especially because every team has no more than 8 players on it. So guys across the board are playing NBA-style minutes for these guys fresh out of college. And some of these players are 28, 29 years old trying to get back into the game. So this is certainly a uphill battle, and I'd say something they're not necessarily used to, taking a couple months off since college.
Yeah, well, that's probably as good of a test as anything. That's certainly something the scouts will take into account as they track these players' progression over the week. So inside is Hamilton.
No injuries so far today, which is obviously a great thing, and I think that has something to say with folks now starting to get a bit more accustomed to the speed and the intensity of this game. Because let's not forget, the last college basketball game we saw was in April. Now we're in July. That's how long these players have had off away from this style of competition.
So it's 27-24 with Oceania ahead off the steal from Morris Walker. Morris Walker taking it himself. Look at that move. That was something. Langston Morris Walker.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. Morris Walker, he's got the talent to dominate this game.
And Palmore cannot answer on the other end. And the loose ball going between the feet of Reese, and Reese will collect it. Inside to Smith. Smith tries to put it on the floor, gets stopped by Tab. Now it's to Palmore. Palmore to Thompson. Thompson misses the 10-footer.
Well, Ladarius Tab altered that shot. What a job on defense by Ladarius Tab. He can do it on both ends of the floor. I'm sure the folks in Oceania are thrilled that that he can play heavy minutes too.
So it's 29-24 Oceania, a little more than halfway through the second quarter. Reese stop and go, gives to Woolfolk. Woolfolk outside. We talked about his long-range ability, and no friendly roll for him. Hamilton tracks down another.
That may be one of the few misses for him of the day. 5 for 9 yesterday from 3.
So Oceania, the team in blue, inside is Hamilton. Errant dribble, probably not the right decision. Palmore getting fancy with it. Thompson finishing on the scoop. That'll warrant a timeout from Tim Fanning, as he cannot be pleased with that transition defense.
Yeah, Keenan Palmore credited with a beautiful assist. What a pass. And that'll stop what has been a dreadful scoring drought for Scouting4u. They've spent a lot of time missing baskets and struggling on that end of the floor. Not too many turnovers for either team, which keeps this game relatively close. But Scouting4u, we're just waiting for them to go on that explosion. We saw Oceania do that in the first quarter, struggle a bit in the second offensively. Scouting4u, 5 points in this quarter. They've got to wake up down the stretch here.
So in terms of scoring, Langston Morris Walker, he's out ahead of 10 points, leading everybody. Again, his team on 26. But Scouting4u, after a very slow start to the second quarter, has really turned up the Jets a little bit, as Gil Kisliak is pleased with his squad, talking to them. You know, you like to see how the coaches handle this too, because we talk about the players all you want trying for their opportunity, but the coaches coming over here coaching guys that they've had, maybe an hour or two to work with before the tournament even starts, and it seems like Kisliak just really has a knack for connecting with these guys after, not talking to them too much. And it's really impressive on his part. Fanning certainly put in that category as well. And, it's no secret that their teams are both 1-0 and competing for a chance to go to that championship game. So it's Anderson starting things off, gives to Tab. Tab's been relatively quiet today. And inside, easy uncontested layup for Xavier Rogers.
Yeah, we try to remain unbiased, but it's really hard to do so with the job that Gil Kisliak has done. He had a great end of the first quarter. His guys really responded after the early hole, and we could see a similar response here in the second quarter as we hit the 3:17 mark before halftime.
So Ellison contorts his body down low, gets fouled, really hitting himself in the head because he wanted that to go in. He wanted the three-point opportunity, but he'll still get a chance for 2 foul shots.
Oliver Ellison was a 49% free throw shooter at Howard, and he only connected on 4 free throws in his performance yesterday against Point Street.
Yeah, well, there's one right there. His first points of the day for Ellison. Again, 6'9", 215, 4 years at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Played limited minutes his senior year, only about 12 a game in terms of minutes, 2.7 points, 2.7 rebounds, and he swishes home the second.
Yeah, well, what made him so good, his 102 blocks during his career was ranked in the top 10 in Howard history. That's how good he was as a shot blocker and an overall defender.
So Xavier Rogers driving kick to Marcel Anderson, shoots up a three. He goes down, holding his body for a sec, but he'll get helped up by both Rogers, Xavier, and Frank. And now he has a shot at 3 foul shots. Oh no, they say he stuck his foot out on that. They're calling a foul on him. So a little turn of events there. It's one thing George Tolliver talked to the referees and players about before this tournament started. He's going to be looking for that. And Anderson right now adjusting his knee brace there on his right knee. He seems to be fine. But referee Brett Hogan in the corner, again, all over it, saying that he kicked out that foot and they're going to call it. So it's 31-28 in favor of Oceania. Under 3 minutes left in this second quarter. Sam Cooperman, Nick Rice with you on the call for Global Basketball. Inside to Thompson. Thompson backing down, spinning, and getting fouled on his way up. Again, Stephen Thompson, a new addition to the Scouting4u team. Didn't play in yesterday's win over Point Street, but he's out here on the floor again. You also take into account Kendrick Reese, who hasn't scored yet, but he played in Chile last year, and he's on this team as well. Foul's going to be called on the floor, though. Not many team fouls in this quarter. 3 team fouls for Scouting4u. Only 1, and that was the first one for Oceania. Driving is Thompson, kicks to Ellison. He mishandles the ball, misses the shot, gets his own rebound, and cannot finish on the dunk, but he gets fouled, and he's shaking his head. He's not liking the way he's playing.
I think Oliver Ellison's playing a little bit better, but I'm sure he's frustrated that he couldn't corral the ball the first time he got the entry pass. But overall performance for Oliver Ellison, I'm starting to like what he's been able to do. Another offensive rebound, 7 yesterday. That's got to be his 3rd today.
So he gets the opportunity for 2 more at the line. You mentioned his foul shooting at the collegiate level. A hair under 50%. But he's 3 for 3 today as he knocks home another one.
Yeah, quite a bit improved.
And that's one thing that Coach Kislyak talked to me about before the game. He was saying his team shot 33% from the charity stripe yesterday, and he said that's not something you see at the professional level.
Yeah, 10 for 27, but Oliver Ellison...
And he's 4 for 4. Look at him.
8 for 10 over the 2 days that he's played. Not half bad.
And if he has improved his foul shooting that much, it's something scouts look at as Anderson works his way into the hole and finishes. He now has cracked double digits.
Don't get it mistaken. The pressure is on these players. A lot of the folks in attendance today are NBA scouts and guys at the professional level. Even these coaches today that are on both ends of the floor, they are also recruiting as well.
Inside pass gets stripped away by Frank Rogers, the big man from San Jose State. Oceania out in numbers, and Ladarius Tabb does the rest. So Tabb, he had 23 yesterday, only 6 in this first half, with the minute 47 remaining in the first half. So Bernie, he loses his dribble, and Anderson reaches in.
That's the type of player you want to have, both Bernie and Anderson. That matchup has been one to watch today. These guys, as we saw earlier, Anderson, flying on the floor. This man will probably have to ice his body after this one's all said and done because he refuses to go down without a fight. Hands on his knees right now, and he has earned his breather now with a minute 41 to go before halftime.
So Smith kicks for Thompson, steps back to Smith. Smith bulldozing his way and can't hit on the lefty baby hook. And fouling Langston Morris Walker is Jordan Bowling.
Did that look a bit like Andre Drummond? It did to me.
Well, I don't think Andre Drummond liked to hear that because he missed the shot. But a minute 30 left in the second quarter. It's 35-30 in favor of the team in blue, Team Oceania. Stopping his dribble and launching up a 3 is Anderson, and he gets fouled, and I think they're actually going to give him the benefit of the doubt this time as he did get hacked before he launched up the 3.
3 free throws coming up, and that's the matchup we've been talking about, Anderson and Burton. These guys are tenacious. I'm sure whether they have 20 points or 12 points or 7 points, both guys, Burton and Anderson, are ones to look at the next level, because when you have that sort of energy on the floor as your leader at point guard, you can do just about everything.
You absolutely want an assertive player on the floor at the point guard position. One guy in particular yesterday, Denzel Menza, is somebody that stuck out to me. And when he played, we saw him, really just a ball of energy for him. And you always want a point guard like that. But Anderson, he's shown a nice ability as well. 14 points yesterday along with 7 assists. He's got 12 in this first half. So Bowling feeds inside for Smith. Smith gets swatted off the backboard by Rogers. And Tab got reached in on the way up floor.
And Tab ends up making a 3 that didn't count. But,
always fun to see those.
Right. Ladarius Tab, we should see a lot of him in the second half. But to get to my point about these two tenacious point guards, if you don't mind, I'm going to give one more NBA reference.
Go for it.
Both Golden State and Cleveland, the folks who made it to the championship, the way that they did it was by their point guards being aggressive. Kyrie Irving, for all of his notoriety he gets as a scorer, he is a tenacious defender. And similar situation when Iguodala or Green plays point guard for Golden State. Those type of point guards can always be welcome additions to a basketball team.
So 45 seconds left in this first half. Steal from Tab after a wild set of plays. He goes up, and yes, sir, gets it to go, and the foul. Ladarius Tab all the way to the rack.
If there's one player on this team who could make it to the NBA, and there usually is about 1 or 2 that make it per year at this crew, along with dozens upon dozens every year to professional rosters, it's Ladarius Tab. The size, the skill, the tenacity on defense, he's got it all.
Tab comes in at 6'5" and shoots one more, rattles out. Smith jumps up and gets it.
Scouting4u, they've got 38 seconds. Let's get a couple baskets to cut into this lead. They have desperately needed baskets down the stretch.
So the top shot clock's not working. They have a shot clock on the side working as Anderson curls his way up and scoops it up and in.
And when I say they need a score, they turn around and turn it over. That's not the way you want to end it. 9 points for this team in the second quarter. That's it.
First double-digit lead for either team as it's 41-30 in favor of Oceania. And taking the charge is Langston Morris Walker. Talked about him a bunch. Oregon State products started half of their games this past year, and he was on that tournament team.
That is a very ticky-tack call. One of the few where I may regard to the other way, because he did hop step away from the restricted area. A very tight call, and they give it to Oceania.
So 10 seconds left. Shot clock unplugged. Marcel Anderson go mano a mano, crosses up Bernie, and he gets fouled as he drives in. So 2 shots coming Anderson's way. He's leading all scorers today with 14 points.
If there's anyone that I want on my coaching staff to help overcome this type of deficit, it is the man for Scouting4u, Gil Kislik. He's got 2 quarters to try and evaporate what is right now an 11-point deficit. Their scoring has not been there. The offense that really willed themselves to the early lead today and that late rally yesterday, nowhere to be found so far, but they've got plenty of capable scorers, and I'm sure Kislik will dial up some sort of a game plan that'll help them get back into it in the third quarter.
So Anderson hits both. 3 seconds left. It's going to be Woolfolk with the half-court heave. No good off the backboard, but after one, it's 43-30 in favor of the team in blue, Team Oceania. Marcel Anderson, player who's played most recently in the Czech Republic with USI Leiden. He's 6 foot 190, and he's got 16 points. Also, Langston Morris Walker for that team in Oceania with 10. And on the other side of the ball, Jordan Bowling has 7 to lead Scouting4u.
We've got a game on our hands, Sam. I think the big problem for Scouting4u has been offense. They've tried to figure out the rotation between Andre Smith and Oliver Ellison. And my issue in that first half, those 2 bigs can dominate this game, but with them continuing to rotate, it's very hard to gather some rhythm when you're coming out every 5-6 minutes. So maybe that's the type of difference that Gil Kislik is looking for in the second half. But if I'm Scouting4u, down 13 with the scores that I have, with the bigs I have, knowing I overcame a 16-point deficit yesterday, I'm not feeling worried quite yet.
I think we're going to take a quick break right here, Nick. We're going to be back momentarily to get you set for the second half. Again, at halftime, Oceania 43, Scouting4u 30. We'll be right back. Oceania. That's 43 points. Scouting4u with 30. Second half, and this game starts up. Winner of this game again goes to the championship game tomorrow afternoon to win section half. So it's Wolfolk driving. Wolfolk again, 22 points yesterday. He's got 5 in the first half. Kyle Moore trapped on the sideline. Gets it out to Wolfolk. Wolfolk driving with the right. Stopping and going up, but it will not fall for him. Jared Wolfolk tried to twirl around there and just threw it up with the right. Almost went in, but it did not fall.
Feels like Wolfolk and probably all of Scouting4u's offense has just been too little, so close but no cigar, I'd like to say.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a good way. Trying to figure out what the phrase was, but a lot of Wolfolk shots and a lot of these guys just so close to going in, and that's really been the Achilles heel for this team, who's played some tremendous defense, but offensively they haven't been able to counter.
Jared Wolfolk hits both. 3 ball coming from Hosley, no good. Hamilton rebound, nice inside feed as Hosley, the nifty move as he crafts his way to the hole.
And Scouting4u's offense wasn't remarkable yesterday either, but the difference is they had grabbed 55 rebounds. Rebounding has not been there today, and that's been the difference.
Ball spinning around the corner, finds its way to Bowling. Bowling misfires from the third, and it's Hosley directing traffic up the other way. So 1 minute underway, it's still a 13-point deficit for Scouting4u. 45-32, the score moves to. As Hosley wanted the bucket, they're going to call a charge instead. Again for Oceania, it's head coach Tim Fanning of the Nelson Giants in New Zealand, directing things for them. Meanwhile, for Scouting4u, Israel, he's the coach of Heifel Brenner in Israel, a youth development team of guys just about to go pro. So Smith takes on the entry, but no good as he loses the ball. Out in transition is Rogers. He has numbers, goes between 2 defenders but can't hit. And it's Bernie saving it on the baseline. So Aaron pass up ahead eventually goes to Palmer, but they're going to call a backcourt violation. Again, these referees, some training for the D-League, others in FIBA. So you got real international brand of referees here. Brett Hogan, the man on the sideline right here, to the land down under in Australia. So he hands the ball to Marcel Anderson, high point man with 16 after the first half. Mosley hustles to get that ball, and he's guarded by Palmer. Back out to Anderson. The one guarding each other with Bernie on Anderson matched up with him. So around the screen is Xavier Rogers, and errant pass goes out of bounds.
You know, I've wondered with Scouting4u's game plan with those 2 dominant rebounders, Smith and Ellison, why they don't put both on the floor at the same time.
Certainly an interesting point. Xavier Rogers picks off Bowling. Bowling with the head of steam inside, off the glass, but in. Using the top of the window is Jordan Bowling. 9 points for the Dalton Statement.
Well, he's got to be like the 3rd or 4th option on this offense, but he is able to convert open look from close.
So 2 minutes underway in the second half, 45-34 in favor of Oceania. Misfiring on the 3 is Hosley. Lefty release is not called for him. He didn't even shoot a 3 yesterday, but he still has to get one today, obviously. As Bernie has the ball on the right wing. Down low to Smith. Smith puts the ball on the floor, gets poked away, and Tab comes up.
Boy, Andre Smith has really struggled today. That's his 4th turnover, and even more begrudgingly for this club is that he hasn't been all too effective shooting from the field.
Smith is someone I was interested to see, as Hamilton takes it a few steps outside. Keyshawn Hamilton working from downtown.
Over the 6'10" Andre Smith, that was a great shot for Hamilton, and before he shot it, I thought that wasn't his range.
Yeah, nice to see a little range from him. Second scouts will notice as Bernie observing the contact for his first points of the day and the foul. So David Bernie, who recently played at Martin Methodist, put up 15 points in the addition of 5 boards, 4 assists.
I expect
9 points yesterday, and he's got his first of the day today.
Right. I expected Oliver Ellison to never take a seat the rest of this game, or at least in very minimal time, because he's put together maybe not the greatest statistical day, but his overall performance, and especially defensively, his tenacity has been really, really beneficial for this team.
So he gets a 3-point play, does Bernie. It's still an 11-point game with Oceania up 48-37. 3 minutes gone by at the start of the second half. So using the Hamilton screen is Anderson. Anderson gives back out to Tab. Tab fadeaway no good. And that's Hosley tracking down this shot.
24.
There's Gisley getting instructions on the rules of this. He's getting different rules internationally versus
the NBA relative set of standards is turnover on Oceania if somebody pushed off. Scouting4u going up the other way. Again, Scouting4u 1-0, Team Oceania 1-0. Scouting4u, the team in white. On the nice give and go as Almore gets fouled on his way up.
Yeah, that's got to be very concerning for both teams, the fact that there's no shot clock right now. There is one all the way in the corner. Yes.
Product, a Division II player. Before that, played 3 years at Old Dominion, but when there was a coaching change, he left school and he decided that he wanted to play right away. He didn't want to deal with the NCAA's transfer rules, so he went Division II where he would not have to wait. So one more for Palmore. Palmore cannot hit either of the foul shots. Coming up the floor is Marcel Anderson again, 5-point man today, 16. Has not scored in the second half yet. Crosses up Bernie, stops and hops, and he gets fouled. Nice move by Marcel Anderson, able to create space for himself. He'll have 2 chances to charge.
He's kicking himself. He was 1 inch away from having a clean block and giving his team a chance, but the so close but no cigar reference comes up again. And I would say with the way that the NCAA works, you mentioned the Division I, Division II deal, the transfer rules. Boy, if there's anyone who was more deserving of not sitting out a year, it is Palmore. This man has got range like a Division I prospect, and it's just unfortunate, but I guess the one benefit is you don't see as many guys transferring, but there's got to at least be some sort of way for guys that are deserving, maybe don't get the playing time, to not have to sit out an additional year before they get that Division I look that they're looking for.
Marcel Anderson missed both the freebies, and then a turnover on the end of Scouting4u. Ball goes off the foot of Kendra Reese, the Chilean product. So Xavier Rogers directing traffic offensively. He drives to the right, tries to use the glass, and no good off the hand of Oliver Ellison. So it looks like Oceania is going to retain possession underneath.
Oliver Ellison, knowing the implications of this game and the ability for him to grab a seat on a a professional roster, he's got the potential to do just that as he gets a steal.
Out of control inbounds pass results in a turnover. So pushing up floor is Wolfolk. Wolfolk ends up in the hands of Thompson. Wolfolk calling for not the best spacing right here. Something Bill Kislick has preached. Spacing in that first day of practice. Can't hit on the 3. It was Wolfolk, but it goes right back into his hands.
Oliver Ellis.
Now he'll dial it up straight away off target. So pushing is Anderson. Kislick's going to want a timeout after this, and Tab could not control it as there's mistiming between him and Anderson as they talk it over. So Scouting4u is going to take a timeout here. Gil Kislick's talking it over with his guys. And 48-37, halfway through this third quarter, Oceania is still up by double digits. Have you seen anything change for either of these teams, Nick, or has it really just been a continuation of what we've seen late in that second quarter?
Well, we're just waiting for one of these offenses to explode, like they have the potential to do, and really, it's a compliment to the defensive effort that both teams have given. That's why we're looking at maybe a game that is probably the lowest scoring of the entire tournament, 48-37 right now. These defenses are beginning to click. We could see a lot more of the same here in the third and fourth quarter. But one thing that I actually want to get your take on, Sam, as far as the transfer rules, do you think in every circumstance there should be a 1-year waiting period? Because you don't see that in college football, and you don't see that in a lot of other instances.
Well, the NCAA level, you do see it in college football. The guys can practice the team like this play. But, there's a lot of things to say about the NCAA. Now is not the time, but I will say that there are some questionable rules. Ellison loses it on the lob attempt. Langston Morris-Walker will come out of attack with him. He's matched up with Thompson. He gives the Tab. Tab, we talked about his performance yesterday. Only 8 points today and 23 yesterday. As Morris-Walker has it on the wing. Bounces for Frank Rogers. Back to Morris-Walker. Takes a few dribbles out. Pops a 3. No good. Into the hands of Palmore. Keenan Palmo, who just talked about him in his transfer situation, going with the left, gives to Wolfall. And now it's in the hands of Thompson, the newest member of his team. So Palmore shoots from the left side, and he connects. Look at Keenan Palmore showing the mid-range touch.
Coming off the timeout, you saw they're trying to get Palmore open. He's been the most, I would say, the most reliable shooter right now for this basketball team.
Frank Rogers stopping his dribble a few feet away. The friendly roll goes down. Frank Rogers, the lengthy four, goes up and curls it in.
Yeah, Gil Kislik.
One more at the charge.
Yeah, he can't believe it. Boy, he thought that Oliver Ellison had the clean block, and I got to agree with him.
Frank Rogers' first points of the day for the San Jose Hornet player. 11.9 points a game, 7.1 rebounds a game in the senior season. Shot will rattle in. The three-point play is good for Frank Rogers. 51-39 in favor of Team Oceania. Palmore gets trapped just past half court, and he'll be able to come up with it, and he gets tripped up on his way to the hoop.
What a defensive performance today for Oceania. We still got a long way to go, but their ability to trap, double team, and their man-to-man defense has just been unstoppable. Like, Scouting4u, they've gone to nearly every play in the book. They've gone big, small, they've gone to their bench. Nothing seems to work. Part of that is just guys are not making shots, but the rest, this defense has been stifling today.
Bernie comes in for Palmer on the top end. He gets trapped a few times. Very far away from the basket. It's not what you want to see in a point guard foul. Wolfall way off on the layup, but Bernie follows it up and he gets blocked. So two shots coming to the way of David Bernie, the Martin Methodist former player.
If Oceania is able to move on today, whoever they play tomorrow in the championship, good luck, because this team can do it all. They've got a stout scorer who's also got plenty of size in the Darius Tab. They've got an all-around stretch great player in Langston Morris Walker. Marcel Anderson is tenacious. He plays both ends of the floor. And now they've got size. Keyshawn Hamilton, we've seen his range as well. We have got a very good basketball team on our hands, and they're clicking at the right time. This team looks like they're on their way to a semifinal victory today.
So Bernie will rattle home the second, and the thing with Keyshawn Hamilton, I think Tim Candy would realize you can utilize him in a more effective way, letting him shoot from the outside. We've seen him hit a couple of long-range shots today, and even though he's 6'10", 260, he does have a sweet stroke that if you just look at the guy, you wouldn't necessarily know that based on his size. You don't expect someone that big to be able to shoot so well from long distance. As Bowling saves it baseline, Bernie up the floor, up to Thompson. Thompson driving, scoop no good, follow-up is good. Thompson's going to get credit for that.
That's the first basket for Scouting4u in over 2 minutes. Boy, what a defensive effort for Oceania.
So 51-42 in favor of Oceania. 3 minutes left in this third quarter. Day 2 of Global Basketball Summer League. Cocking back and launching a three is Anderson. Roll will go down for him. His first shot of the second half. So 19 points on the day for Marcel Anderson, 6-foot point guard. He recently played in the Czech Republic. Bowling thinks about a three. Now he'll give it to Bernie instead. Bernie over Lisi, and the only player is yet to score in this contest. Shot clock winding down. Bernie's going to have to get it off, but just as it expires, utilizing the window.
For guys who are expecting a loud horn, you're not going to get it when the shot clock hits 0, because these players have to look to the far corner to find the shot clock. But a tremendous job, as if it was on the jumbotron, of using the clock to their advantage.
No jumbotron to do with the sound, but on the other end, Ladarius have connects to the corner three. Bowling stops the dribble on the trap. Thompson bowling his way to the hole, using the left, and he gets fouled on the floor.
Well, from yesterday to today, they did improve at Scouting4u on one important aspect of this game. They're making free throws a lot better than they did yesterday, at a much bigger rate, rather. However, the problem for them is everything else. Their rebounding is gone from yesterday. Their scoring is gone from yesterday. And also, they're turning over the basketball more rapidly. That's why they have the deficit that looks to be 15. Our scoreboard is a bit...
A little bit awful. I don't believe the
Is
score
mouth...
44 to nothing.
Yeah, that's what they show right now.
This in that scenario of being up by 35 points, but now it's corrected. It's 7-44 in favor of Team Oceania.
We're waiting for that offense for Scouting4u to explode. I mean, they've still got plenty of time, but this just doesn't appear to be the day that these guys can make a big offensive rally. I mean, we see it in every aspect of the sport. Sometimes a great team just simply can't make their shots. And this club, unfortunately for them, when they're not making their shots, you see the rebounding falter a bit, and overall, this team just does not look like the club that we saw yesterday. Still plenty of time to go, but it's got to be concerning for Gil Kislik that their offense has not been nearly as potent as yesterday.
So now both teams will retake the floor. 148 in the third quarter, 57-44. Team Oceania has maintained that 13-point lead they took in half.
Well, their free throw shooting has been spectacular, a lot better than yesterday for sure. We'll see if they can get back into this game at the charity stripe.
Shot coming from Thompson. Off back rim on the first. And foul shot's an easy way, of course, to come back to this game. And Scouting, if you're going with a two-guard lineup of Bernie and Palmer. The second one will go home for Thompson. Stephen Thompson is 8 points in the day in his first game with Scouting4u. Dribbling on the outside of Xavier Rogers. Gives the tab, swinging around the perimeter. Driving it now is Hosen. We haven't seen a lot of him. And he passes it right to Jordan Bowling. Bowling, a nice shovel pass. And the finish. That was Bernie on the other end. Connected.
Well, Bowling is a tremendous passer. His scoring is okay, but his ability to pass may help them get back in this game.
Xavier Rogers takes a few steps in and he hits. So 5 points for the Cleveland Havoc player in the UVA. So offensively, Palmore gets out of the trap this time. Finds an overfeed for Bernie. Bernie from downtown, no good. But back to Thompson on the rebound. Andre Smith back in the game. He struggled today as Bowling cannot save it. Gives it right to Rogers. Rogers, but Bowling, way to get back on defense as he gives Rogers the hard but clean foul. And he gives him a high five after that to let him know no bad intentions there. Xavier Rogers goes to line for two. You gotta like Jordan Bowling's hustle. He turns over the ball, but he's able to save it as he goes back, and he making Rogers earn two at the line.
Yeah, you do love the hustle, but it shouldn't have come down to that. Bowling fell asleep on the outside, and for a man who's not made a big impact, you can't afford to Bowling to just simply not keep track of what's going on the floor. And that seems to be the motto so far today of a lot of these guys. It's been just a lot more sloppy overall than what we saw yesterday.
First one goes down for Xavier Rogers, as does the second. He's got 7. So 45 seconds left in this third quarter, 61-47. Oceania has the lead. Bernie had it on the outside. That one gets poked away. He's got numbers. He pushes now. Tab stops 3, gives inside to Hamilton. Hamilton bulldozing his way to the hoop, and a little out of control offensive foul as Bernie was there to draw the charge.
Hamilton will argue that call, but there's nothing to argue. That was easily an offensive foul. But Ladarius Tab grabbing another rebound. We don't have the numbers in front of us, but this may be the player of the game. Ladarius Tab, what a performance for him.
He's got 11 points on the day thus far, so not quite the 23 he had. There is still a fourth quarter, but he has been effective.
Hey, this game is more than points, Sam.
He raised a good point. Palmore walks up the quick shot. Keenan Palmore with 9 points now. Transfer situation a little earlier. Former player at Old Dominion for 3 years, wanted to play right away after a coaching change. So he went down a level to Division II at Lenore Run. So Hosley outside gets picked up by Bowling, gets through 2 defenders, twists his way in, and he gets bumped. Nice little hesitation move from Antoine Hosley, and he has the chance at 2 at the line.
A bit undersized as Hosley, but he plays as if he's 6'3", 6'4". He's so aggressive to the basket, not afraid of the trees that stand in front of him near the hoop.
First one is good. In game one again for him, 10 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 5 for 7 from the field. Efficient basketball for him. One more coming hose this way. And on all sides of the rim, and good. 2 seconds left in this third quarter. Palmore's going to throw up a prayer, and just off the side of the rim. And that's the way this third quarter will end. 63-49. Oceania has increased its leads of 14 points. Largest of the day. Scouting4u is going to have some work to do if they want to come back in this one in the fourth.
They're in control. Both sides of the ball, especially defense, I would say, if there's any. Oceania has taken a stranglehold of this game. Their man-to-man defense has been sensational. It's just hard to believe that Scouting4u had a 13-5 lead in the early stages. Not anymore. Oceania has woken up since that early deficit, and now they're 10 minutes away, and a very easy opportunity for them to move on to the championship round.
And they've certainly made proper adjustments to Tim Fanning. Again, he's the head coach of the Nelson Giants of the New Zealand Basketball League. He also has experience with the Delaware 87ers of the G League, but wanted to go overseas, an opportunity there, couldn't pass it up, and that's where he is. And he's looking to bring a few guys back. Again, a lot of these overseas teams, they have a cap on how many Americans you can have on a team. So for the NBL in Canada, they can bring 8. It's a majority of the players on those teams. And Windsor Express, one of them, coached by Scott Newman. We're going to see him next in Game 3. But those teams, they can bring 8 Americans. When you look at a lot of other teams, like Israel and New Zealand, where both these coaches are from, you can only bring 2 Americans. So
where did you get that number from?
That's what they told them.
Wow.
Talking to people.
Well,
the fourth quarter begins. Xavier Rogers driving in, kicking out the Tab. Tab a few steps the other way. Up for Hamilton. Hamilton brings it down and up, and he gets fouled.
Maybe some of these guys struggle to get acclimated, but not you, Sam. You made yourself home right away. And I have a follow-up question for you. As far as the NBA goes, how many overseas players are teams capped to have?
There's no cap in the NBA.
No cap? Okay, that's what
Whatever you want.
that's what I thought. But I mean, the chances of overseas players making huge impacts, not as likely as you think. But with the talent that we see right here on the court, if there's any players following college who can make a big impact overseas, it is guys that we see today, even in this game, like Ladarius Tab, guys like Walker, guys that have made tremendous plays in this game.
Up court to Langston Morris Walker. He drives, he hits, and the foul. Langston Morris Walker absorbing the contact and going up with the right hand. He's got a chance for one more.
And the avalanche is beginning to fall for the Scouting4u team. The defense has been reliable for most of the day, but the turnovers are beginning to rear its ugly head, and now this offense is starting to become a liability. And with 9 minutes and change to go, they can ill afford to stop at this stage of the game on the offensive end.
So now it's a 19-point lead for Oceania with Morris Walker converting the 3-point play.
And this really isn't indicative of these players and of this coaching staff, because this team can win against anybody. Just today, their shot has not fallen.
So finishing down low there, Scouting4u. 68-51 now, with Oceania still out in front. Mosley around the screen, out to Tab. Tab open from long range, no good from downtown. Smith loses it on the rebound, but Bowling will pick it up. Jordan Bowling to the hole, nice cross-court bounce, and Woodfull found it, down to Smith. Smith gets blocked, so Tab will go up the other way. In transition, Morris Walker again taking the contact.
Ladarius Tab with the block on the other end, though, against Andre Smith. Smith has got about half a foot on Ladarius Tab, but it doesn't matter. This man is ultra aggressive on both ends of the floor. Sam, I'm telling you right now, Ladarius Tab is my player of the game and might just be the best player on this floor today.
The Scouts like what they saw out of him yesterday with Morris Walker connecting on the first foul shot. Langston Morris Walker had 18 yesterday. He's got 14, making 15 today, as his team is now up by 19, a minute and change into this fourth quarter.
Largest lead for this team today.
And the point is Bernie. Bernie out to an open bowling from the wing. No good from three. Thompson was able to gather the rebound. Collects himself, throws up a shot, and out of control offensive foul. As your man Tab is there to draw it. Darius Tab, Alabama A&M player for 2 years, from 2014 to 16. This past year put up nearly 19 points a game. 6'5", 195, absolute volume scorer. And you can see you can do more than score. He just drew the charge there. He had a block moments ago. So you like a player with some all-around skills and the length that he has.
Yeah, I never understood these teams that grab nothing but shooters. Tab with an unfortunate turnover. That's the only time we'll see a mistake from him. But in all seriousness, I never understood a team that locks and loads on shooting threes. Tab and a lot of other guys, they relegate their game to a little bit of everything, which makes them so much more valuable for a particular team.
So behind the back, Bernie, he crosses over, gives out to Wolfong from downtown, no good. And the ball leaks out. So transition is Hosley. Can he finish? Yes, he can. Utilizing the left hand, Antoine Hosley. He's got 6 points.
They're getting contributions from everywhere, from the starters, from the bench. The defense has been solid. What a performance today for Oceania.
Now it's a 21-point lead for Oceania, but back to 19 as Bowling is able to hit the short two. Bowling is now in double digits. He's got 11 points. Struggled yesterday with 6 points on 2 of 11 shooting, but we've seen a little bit of a better game from Jordan Bowling as a wing player. Can't exactly create his own shots, but in the right setting, if you see a foul on the near side, Jordan Bowling can be effective.
Yeah, he's got to be thrilled. A definite bounce-back performance for him. And with whoever Scouting4u plays tomorrow, it'll be a good opportunity for him in the second-tier basketball game to make a big impact.
Hamilton using the space on the baseline and connects. Sean Hamilton, 6'10", 260, but versatile enough to put the ball on the floor, take a few steps in, and finish.
And the reason why I say to be so encouraged if you're Jordan Bowling is this may be the best defense he plays. Oceania, from top of the roster to the bottom, they've got guys who can defend with the best of them.
Absolute stifling defense. We've seen them utilize the press throughout the game. They're up by 22 now, 75-53. Just over 7 minutes remaining in this contest. Eric pass goes out of bounds on the far sideline.
We've seen a team with a deficit, and they understand it. They know that they have to make plays happen. But just the desperate passes and desperate shots that these guys are taking is what's costing them. There's one thing.
Rogers getting fouled there. It was Bernie who reached in.
Very, very close. I'm very, very. A lot of these calls have been incredibly close. These referees have had to make some very tough decisions, but they've done a solid job today. A couple mistakes, but mainly very solid for them and these players. But if you're Scouting4u, you've got to be a bit frustrated because this game was within reach until about the start of the fourth quarter. And their problem has been, there's one thing to play from behind and play with a sense of urgency. There's another thing to just become desperate and take any shot or make any pass in order to come back. And that's been part of the problem. We've seen far more turnovers today than yesterday because of their desperate play.
So Langston Morris Walker hesitation move and finish leads to a Gil Kislyak timeout. Scouting4u, so it's all Oceania, 77-53, 6:50 remaining in this ballgame. And you know, while the game is realistically out of reach, it's about these guys still showing what they can bring to the floor because this is essentially a tryout.
Right.
You know, you want to see your team win, and Coach Kislyak talking about that before the game. But at the end of the day, you want to show off what you can personally bring to another team. So for these guys, it doesn't end. You know, there's really no, getting down on yourself in a situation like this. The game is over. Even though they're supposed to do that in theory, but they're still out there trying to showcase their own individual talents, which can make for a fun last 7 minutes.
But as a player, you do look a little bit better when your team wins a championship. Oceania is 1 game away from doing just that. Oh, this game is over.
Bowling bulldozing his way inside, no good. Hamilton has it, starts the fast break. Morris Walker, what can he do with it? He gets fouled as Jared Wolfoff was there to wrap him up.
Later on today, we've got 2 more contests. Whoever ends up coming out, I think the team that could end up facing Oceania in the championship, we will see face off at 4 between D Las Vegas Casino and Southern Stars. On paper, I would say that the favorite would be D Las Vegas Casino. Sam, you're actually very familiar with them from your coverage yesterday.
Yeah, D Las Vegas Casino, they put together a nice performance in terms of Windsor. They have some size. They have a few big guys, as Langston Morris Walker up their third. That's going to be a fun game to watch for sure. I didn't really get to see the Southern Stars so much, but they had a very tight-knit game between them.
Obviously, they had no problem scoring 112 points in a reduced game. But I would say if D Las Vegas Casino and Oceania face up in the championship, these 2 teams will probably not score much at all because their defenses are arguably number 1 and number 2 in this league, which is saying something.
Frank Rogers' second effort is good after Wolfoff converted on the opposite end. Rogers has now cracked 5 points. Wolfoff driving, and he took steps on the way from the 3-point arc.
Yeah, this team's just falling apart. They know this game is just about over. Coming up at 4, too, the other thing that I'm looking forward to is for the Southern Stars, the fact that they won the game almost single-handedly by one kid named Gary Jacobs. I'm looking forward to a bounce to how he's able to respond. He had 34 points, by far and away the leading scorer for this tournament, and I think he's set for an equal performance today. It'll be interesting to see.
Ellison strips it away from Hamilton. Andre Smith Euro-stepping his way to the hole. Nice to see the big man showing the fancy footwork.
6'10", 260 pounds, hopping like a James Harden. What a move.
Still 81-57 with Oceania, the team in blue.
Scouting for you may not be able to win this game, but Smith and Ellison are still guys that I'm very intrigued to see tomorrow with whoever they play.
They haven't had the best game today after playing a little better with a shot clock violation again. At the Doolittle Community Center, we currently don't have the shot clocks functioning properly, so we have a plug-in on the side.
It's actually
a little hard for these guys
to
see that on the way to the hoop.
But that's only the second shot clock violation in the second half. I've been very intrigued by how these teams, despite not seeing the shot clock, have been able to handle the 24 seconds pretty well.
So Kenzo DeRisi is checked into the game again. Ellison is able to hit it on the baby hook and a low block, and he'll go to the line for one more.
So at that winners game at 4 o'clock, Sam, do you believe, too, that Las Vegas Casino could pull off that win?
Well, they absolutely could. It remains to be seen how these teams match up again. These are teams that were just put together days ago. So, the team chemistry and camaraderie is exactly where you want it to be from, a team that's been through it all together. The other guys just trying to try out for the team. So we'll see.
The fascinating...
Both teams have exciting players. I'm not sure the name of the game at this point. It's fun to see the individual players play their game.
Right. I would say the fascinating part of this game is that D Las Vegas Casino not only shot really well, but this is something you almost never hear of. Of their starters, only one committed a single personal foul. So, based off of that, I wasn't able to see the game, but based off of that, this could be a very clean play game tomorrow if D Las Vegas Casino moves on.
That's certainly an interesting note. As inbounds goes to Morris Walker, he feeds to a wide open Rogers. Rogers puts it on the floor and gets hacked. He could have gone right up with it. It was a very easy, uncontested layup. He had just gone up right away, but he wanted to get a little closer to the hoop, so he'll have to earn it from the foul. 4:22 left in this contest. 81-60. Team Oceania in blue. Frank Rogers can add to that right now. First one is good for the man from San Jose. Played 4 years at San Jose State.
The Spartans were in the Mountain West tournament this past year and made it pretty far. If it weren't for a juggernaut by the name of San Diego State, maybe the former Spartan and his teammates could have been able to make it to the big dance.
No good with the three from Wolfel. Bowling fights for the rebound there. I believe he grabs the foul. So they're over the limit. Oceania, so that means Bowling is going to be open on the two. Bowling from Dalton State. That's the friendly roll on the first. He's got 12 points now. Again, he bounced back a little bit today after struggling mightily in game one for Scouting for you. Getting a breather now with Jared Wolfel. He's got 9 points now. It might not come back in on the corner itself. His goal could be done. But Bowling's able to come on both free throw attempts. So his team's still down by 21 with Scouting for you. 4 minutes remaining in the contest. Penetration from Anderson, the feed to Langston Morris Walker, he cannot finish. Bowling running the break, and an errant lob pass, not the correct decision, 3-on-2. Let's see what Morris Walker can do, and he'll flush it with 2 hands. Langston Morris Walker, the first player today with 20 points for his team. His teammate Marcel Anderson is 19. Ellison backing down Tab. Cannot hit. Smith cannot hit either.
Man, this game has gone so wrong for this team. Andre Smith bowled over his own teammate, and his teammate contributed to him missing the shot. It's just been that type of day for this team. They just couldn't get anything right, because in any other game, I would say in any other setting, Scouting for You would put more than 62 points on the board.
Certainly a fair point, as Ellison takes the baseline feed from Smith. He can't finish, but they'll call a foul. Oliver Ellison, 49% foul shooter in college, but we've seen here today, Nick, he's been able to convert on the majority of his foul shots. He's
8 of 10.
Nice little lefty stroke.
Yeah, 8 of 10 during his time in this tournament. Not half bad.
7 points in the day for Ellison. He only hit 1 shot. 6'9", 215, he's listed at. Played 4 years at Howard University. First one did not look too pretty. We still got one more. 3:03 remaining. Frank Rogers checking out. Coming in is Xavier Rogers. Xavier played for the Cleveland Havoc in the UVA. Frank Rogers, we talked about him in San Jose, and I just got to mention, I don't know if you've ever seen San Jose's court. One of the most interesting court designs in college basketball. One of those with a giant logo that takes up like 3/4 of the court.
Interesting.
The second one is no good from Ellison as well. So he's able to this time. But he comes up with a steal. Bowling gets it into his hands. Bowling with the right, hop to the left, back to the right, and the finish.
Good performance for Bowling. But let me try and one-up you, Sam.
Let's hear it.
For a school in Southern California, Long Beach State, their gym goes into the ground. The top of the gym is actually ground level. So the rest of the gym, it's called the pyramid, is beneath the actual ground. So obviously no problems getting to the top of the gym.
Learn something new every day, Nick, and that's something I did not know until now. 2:37 remaining in this ball game. 23 points in this Oceania. And another timeout coming, as both coaches will talk things over. We get set to finish this one off. So again, it's going to be Team Oceania coming out with 2-0 on their record. Scouting for You 1-0, now going to fall to 1-1 after this one. So as we look ahead here, who's really stood out to you today in regards to what they've been able to do on individual stuff?
Well, I've preached it for pretty much the entirety of the ball game. The Darius Tab has been a one-man wrecking crew, but Scouting for You, I think in any other instance, this offense would be a bit more prolific. They just simply couldn't get their shots early. After that 13-5 start. Boy, they just went on about a quarter and maybe a quarter and a half long scoring drought. They just simply could not find a bucket, and that's where Oceania began to catch their rhythm, and this defense just turned it on in the second half. A prolific performance for everyone involved on that Oceania club, and they will resoundingly move on to the championship round. And the fact that they play the early game, they get about 4 hours extra rest versus their opponent. That might be an extra advantage for them.
So you raise a valid point with that. Extra rest is certainly helpful. The officials with a shot clock, the really game clock thing sorted out. Just go for scoring. Ranks and Morris Walker leads all scorers at 20. Marcel Anderson at 19. Shot clock is obviously fixed if we're back into it. On the other side, Jordan Bowling leading Scouting4u at 15. And it's Bowling right now match up with Rogers. Back over to Kendrick Reese. Reese has not scored today. He drives to the left. Can he finish now? Yes, he can. First points of the day for Kendrick Reese, who most recently played in Chile. Late addition to the Scouting4u team. So just over 2 minutes remaining before we wrap this one all up. Anderson pulling out a play. He pops a three. No good from straight away. As Ellison will grab the loose ball. Shoots the bird. Out to Bowling. Bowling, step back three, connects. Jordan Bowling has 18 as he's shown the sweet long-range stroke.
He can't miss, and he picked a good time to do it because despite the team losing, the fact that he's been able to perform as well as he has puts him right into the running for an opportunity to get his way onto a professional roster. What a performance for him in a bounce-back way.
He gives a little hip check there, Xavier Rogers. So to his side out here, this juncture of the game, 139. Now, just for, I guess, the way it looks in the scoreboard, if you want to account for that, it's now under a 20-point deficit for Scouting4u. Tab misfires on a corner three. Kendrick Reese, pass inside to Ellison. Ellison finishes with the contact. Look at that, Oliver Ellison late in the game, turning things around as he goes underhand with the left for the finish.
Beautiful move for Oliver Ellison. He has figured out a way to make his points at the charity stripe and get back to the line. This will be the 5th time that he goes here, and despite his team falling short, Oliver Ellison putting on a show. Him and Bowling have been probably the 2 reliable targets for them today.
Oh, I was being recorded? One more. See a decent amount of foul shots going down for a shooter that, we see usually at 50% in Howard University. One more, off that rim, no good.
I'm sure the fans of Oliver Ellison who are joining us on this broadcast are sick and tired of him being mentioned as a bad foul shooter. Today is not the case, and yesterday.
Mosley going around the trees, and he gets bumped in the process. So Antoine Mosley, talked about him, former player of Montana State Jones. Spent some time in the Portland Pro-Am Summer League as he tries to find his way onto a roster.
It's amazing what we do as media, as broadcasters, where we look at a great player like Oliver Ellison and we spend most of the time talking about his foul shooting. That's what we do. Dissecting the little things. I'm sure coaches do the same thing. You're one of the top shot blockers in the school. You shot 87% as a senior at your university, but your foul shooting is not good. That's what we're going to focus on.
Yesterday, 10 today. Pretty consistent from him. 6'2", 200 guard. Bowling open three, rims out. Ellison skies for the board, and fouling him, jumping right over on his back as the Darius pass. But Oliver Ellison, he had to create a second chance opportunity right there.
Yeah, that's just an effort play for Oliver Ellison, refusing to go down without a fight. He's already attempted, I believe, 9 free throws, so this will be 10 and 11.
majority of the last minute, so
Majority of the game.
but he can't hit there. So
I think he's missed
think-
about 5
yeah,
straight,
I
though.
think
That
he
is a
started
problem.
talking about it.
Listen, we
We're
are
sorry. We're sorry.
we are literally inches away from the Scouting for You bench, and Oliver Ellison has been right around us for most of the game, so maybe it's getting into his head a bit.
I'd like to think that a player at professional level is just thinking about us, certainly.
So 45 seconds left in this one. Sam Krugerman and Nick Rice here to wrap this up. Marcel Anderson driving, tries to lob for Tab. It was a pretty finish, but there was a foul on the floor first. Going to call that, and they're going to be in the bonus. So it's Marcel Anderson with 2 more foul shots.
So we saw a man yesterday, Doug Anderson, literally almost rip the entire backing of the backboard off of the basket, and we almost saw that again with Ladarius Tab. This man can play.
Some ferocious dunks indeed being thrown down. Anderson goes 1 of 2, but that gets him to 20 points. So him and Morris Walker both tied for the most points today with 20. Ellison's able to get by a few defenders, finds Bowling. He lobs for Smith! Smith throwing it down to end this one. All 6'10", 260 of Andre Smith throwing it down with authority. You see a dunk like that, and you talked about that a minute ago, Nick, with how the rim is going to hold up here. Still managing, but you got to make sure that it does not fall down here on these players. So 29 seconds left in the game, and they're sorting out this game clock here. 90-72, Team Oceania running away with the victory. They're going to move to 2-0, have a shot to win it all, the Session A championship, tomorrow afternoon. They're going to play the winner of Southern Nevada going up against the Las Vegas Casino. So outside the ball goes. Morris Walker hesitates and gives back. And 15 seconds left in this one. Still a shot clock, so they're going to have to take one more. Anderson working off the dribble. The scoop, no good. And Bowling is going to take it up court. No more shot clock. They're going to try to finish one. Ellison getting up. Levitation. Oliver Ellison with the jam.
Let's see
This
the range
one's
of
all
Ladarius
done.
Tab. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And he's not even going to take it as he dribbles around Andre Smith. I know you wanted to see one more, Nick, but that's all she wrote here. Final score, 90 for Oceania, 74. And those last two coming in a big way from Ellison, but that's all we have here today. Tim Fanning's squad moves to 2-0. They have a chance for the championship tomorrow. Gil Kisley's squad, 1-1. They'll have a chance to play for third place tomorrow afternoon.
And I expect Scouting for You to come back with a vengeance, because this team is a lot more capable than what they put on the floor. Not saying that they put a bad performance out, but looking at the way that they responded yesterday, just shocking that they didn't put together a good offensive performance. Overall, they were a bit flat on that side of the ball. Turnovers were a problem. And they just caught a really good team on a really good day. Oceania, give all the credit to them. They responded well, and they are deserving of a trip to the championship.
Absolutely, Nick. That's just going to about do it here from the Doolittle Community Center. We'll be back momentarily for Game 3 of the day. We mentioned it's going to be the losers of yesterday, Windsor Express. They're going to be taking on Nevada Desert Storm here in just about 20 minutes. So for Nick Rice, I'm Sam Cooperman. So long from Las Vegas.
What's up, man?